Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, let me enter the freaking video. Aha, aha. All right, let me see what's going on here. Hi, guys. It's just crazy today. It's super crazy. I'm still learning this platform. It's going to be okay. You know, there's a learning curve. Just, yeah. Okay. So I asked what this reading was going to be about. And what I heard is, let me show you. Pisces, what you didn't want to believe. So this reading is for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also for your cross watchers. Also for those of us who find ourselves on this channel without any Pisces in anything. You're probably an empath and you're probably needing messages from your soul. All right. So really quick, guys, if y'all can do me a favor and let me know how the audio sounds. Do you guys hear any clicking? Is the volume okay? You know, let a girl know what she needs to adjust. Is it my volume? Is it my attitude? Okay. All seriousness, it's time to get serious. Pisceans and empaths. There's something that you don't want to believe about something that you're living through. Okay. Whatever it is that you're living through, it's been very, very difficult for you. And it's definitely been something that um, I think you've probably been avoiding to some degree. Is it because you love someone? Is it because you're afraid? Is it because we don't really know why. We have to figure out why we are doing the things that we're doing. Um it's Mercury retrograde, right? So with that, oftentimes we kind of just revert to um I don't know, like old coping mechanisms, old behavioral patterns, all of that. Y'all give me anxiety. Not you guys, my attitude. All my attitudes, my different personalities are giving me anxiety right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Michael goes, "What are you doing? Why are you flipping cards like that?" I don't know. I don't trust you today. Okay. I'll stop. I'll stop. Let me go ahead, shuffle everything back into the deck. It's supposed to be a surprise, remember? I remember. Okay, here goes. Here goes. Oh, I was going to count cards again. There. All right, so pull some of those. Pull some of these. Some of these. How are you guys doing, by the way? Is everyone feeling all right? Because I'm feeling good. Do-dum, do-dum. All right, let's get started. Card number 7, Legacy of Light. I think the message here is that we're kind of forgetting who we actually are. We're kind of forgetting the gravity of what we've been through in life, the ways in which we've learned, the ways in which this, the ways in which that. Excuse me. It's become something that's so common for us, the downplaying of the greatness that you are, the decision to try and be more normal, to not be so irritating. That's like this thing where for some reason you think you're irritating. Why would you think you're irritating? Are people making you feel like you're irritating? Are people making you feel as though you're too much, as though you're not enough, as though you need to give more despite the fact that you're already an overgiver? Like, what is it? Is it someone specific in your life trying to convince you that the person you are is just not enough? Here's my personal logic, okay? This is just my personal logic. You can agree or disagree or what have you. My personal logic is, if you think I'm not enough, go find someone who is enough for you. If you think I'm too much, go find someone who's less than me. I'm no longer going to be catering to the demands of people who don't even understand how to appreciate those with substance and depth. I know I have substance, I know I have depth, and it's going to get to a point where the more you continue to play along with people who really are incapable, and that might be the reality of it. They might be incapable of understanding the gravity of who's in front of them. You know, I was just thinking the other day how, like, there are so many people who have been part of my life over the years who knew that I was different. And I don't know, they just didn't really have any appreciation for it. Like, they never tore me down or anything like that. But they didn't exactly celebrate the fact that I was different. It was kind of just like a novelty, you know? And I'm finding these thoughts of, like, everyone needs something suddenly with Mercury retrograde. It's weird. It's weird. I can't even go into any messengers because it's this overwhelming sense before I see anything that someone needs something else from me. Someone this, someone that. Right. And it doesn't give me a sense of exactly who. I don't know if it's the same person or a whole bunch of different people. Um, it's more of this thing of, like, I feel as though there's constantly another person just waiting to receive, waiting to receive. And that has to be looked at in a different way. I could sit here and be like, you know, oh, people just don't get it. People don't understand my day. People don't need to understand my day. They don't need to get me. They don't need to understand my day. I need to understand it. So during this period, I think what we really need to hear is that we are in control of the way we're experiencing this. If that's what I'm feeling, anytime my finger hovers over the messenger button for any app, just to kind of see if anyone's messaged me, because I have all notifications turned off. Uh, if I start to get anxiety, that's a problem with me right there. I'm picking up on something. Maybe what I'm picking up on is not someone else needing me to do something or give something or be something for them. Maybe it's me feeling myself returning back to all of these old patterns where I feel like I have to look for someone to do something for. And now my soul is telling me, like, no, you've exited out of that way of being. You don't have to be that anymore. You don't have to do that anymore. You have to allow yourself to continue moving forward and just be. The thing is, if I really assess myself, I have no problem doing things for other people, helping other people. I really have no issue with it. I'm absolutely a giver and a nurturer. In real life, that's my natural state. So then why am I suddenly the past couple days feeling like, oh my gosh, people just constantly want something from me? Maybe it's because I'm recognizing this part of me is seeking out, because life has been very quiet for me. Very, very quiet. I'm wondering if part of me that I'm not allowing myself to recognize is seeking out someone else to work on a new person project, a new thing to do, a new person, a new person, a new person. And sometimes we do this, sometimes we do this and we just have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be honest with ourselves when we're entering or low key trying to re-enter these patterns that really prevent us from doing the things we need to do. So I'm an avoider. Okay, people think I'm all like confrontational. No, no, I'm an avoider. I like to avoid everything. Anything that makes me uncomfortable, anything that I don't want to do, I will look for a way to avoid it. So had to go run errands yesterday in between work stuff. That quick errand where I was supposed to just get one thing at one store became let's look at the plant department. Let me talk to all of the freaking plants that are in the plant department. Mm-hmm. I had to touch all of them, ask them how they're doing. I'm not even joking. And then I had to go and pick some plants to take home. And of course, I'm going to pick plants that I don't have the things that I need to make them healthy at home. So now we have to go to another store. Did I even need to do any of that? Something that should have been 30 minutes is now like 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. And then when I get home, yo, I decided to work on the entire veggie patch that I have in the backyard. I decided to work on the veggie patch, redo the sprinklers. And then I went inside, I repotted several of the plants. I had to talk to all of them again, make sure everyone is happy in their new places. Anyone needs to be shifted, anyone needs more light, more water. And then I decided to take my big wannabe waterfall bonsai. That one needed a bath. I needed to bathe it. I, I needed to get work done. So maybe like 5 hours later, I can feel my back is starting to hurt. And what do? Instead of sitting down and getting back to work on my laptop, I just very nicely tell my kids, can we please clean the whole house? So now we're cleaning the whole house. Yeah. Yep. Instead of doing the things I needed to do, that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing. And I continued to push and push and push myself until it literally felt like my disc was going to bulge in my back and I had to sit down. I had to. At which point I decided I was going to look for someone to chat with. And luckily, that's not how it worked because I don't know what happened, but I was like, oh, I got to do my work. And I finally got to work. This avoidance is what's actually making your life so hard. If you don't want to learn the lessons that your soul is trying to teach you, you're still going to have to learn it. I still had to, figure out Vimeo and how to use this platform and do all of these different things. If I'm integrating all these plugins and learning, teaching myself HTML coding and all of this and all of that, I need to be fully present for that. There are certain deadlines that have to be met. And yeah, you guys are super chill and super patient. And if I ever told you, like, oh my gosh, I can't do that today, you guys would all be so quick to be like, oh, Emmy, you're so busy though. You need to be gentle with yourself. Y'all are enablers. Don't enable me, you know? And that's the thing. Like, have you allowed yourself to be surrounded by the people who love you to the degree that they would enable you? Is that what it is? Is that why suddenly you feel yourself kind of backing away from everyone? Not that there's a problem, but suddenly you're not as chatty. Suddenly you're not as involved. Like, I mean, just last week I was super involved in the Soul Sanctuary podcast private group on Facebook. I was posting up a storm. We was cooking in that kitchen. And then like I'm like, "Oh my gosh. I feel like I've just totally abandoned everyone in there." Y'all know I'm going through something, right? I'm going through a cycle of avoidance. And it has to be this way because it's this thing of unless I allow myself to back away, even from the people who actually truly love me, support me unconditionally, don't have like unrealistic, unfair expectations of me, if I don't do that, I'll revert back to the same old patterns of not doing the work I'm supposed to do because now I've found excuses, viable reasons as to why I have something I need to do that's more important. No, no. As part of our growth, we have to learn how to balance the load. It can't be all give, it can't be all take, it can't be all outside of you or all inside of you. There's something going on. I don't know if it's for you or if it's for someone else. Like someone is going through something, whether it's for you, like you're going through something, or someone you have some type of connection to, they're going through something. You're feeling it, it's affecting you. Card number 26, relax the hold of darkness and be at cause. Someone's going through a dark night of the soul. They have all of their insecurities just kind of splayed out before them. It might be you, it might be someone that you have a soul connection with. They're going through something very, very difficult. It's causing them to question everything that they've lived through thus far. Questioning is good. That's how you learn. The people, the groups, the official organizations that tell you you're not allowed to question, ask yourself why. You're not allowed to question them. You're not allowed to question their authority. You're not allowed, not allowed, not allowed. Why? If I have a genuine like question of why, and you don't want me to ask why, I'm now going to get very quiet with you and begin asking myself, why are you in my life? Why are you in my life? You don't want me to ask why? I'm not intentionally being disrespectful or dismissive or disruptive. I need to understand what I'm participating in. I have found this is super important to hear. You only get your answers if you ask the right questions. If you're not asking questions at all, why are you surprised you don't know what's going on in your life? Why are you surprised that you don't know what's going on in your relationships? What's the surprise there? You're not asking questions, so how are you going to get answers? How are you going to know? To trust? Trust what? The insecurity? You have to be honest with yourself. If you are the type of person who, in the absence of answers, will start to make up stories, you need to start asking questions before you start sabotaging yourself, your relationships, your situations, your opportunities. I ask myself a lot of questions throughout the day. I ask myself a lot of questions throughout my day. Why? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why am I not? Why am I? Why? And that's how I regulate myself. Because when I begin asking myself why, I know something feels off. And I'm not talking about parasitic off. I'm talking about, is this a self-sabotage opportunity? Am I inviting myself to sabotage my growth, my sense of self? And am I actually considering this invitation? And when I position it in that way, word it in that way, I now have empowered myself to hear the truth of what I'm doing and why. I have my answers. And once I have those answers, I can very powerfully redirect myself. Very, very powerfully redirect. Sometimes you want to avoid certain things and certain people, probably because you can feel that you're going to grow from it. And it's something that is scary because as you grow, you become a different person. It's okay to change. "Oh, but I don't want to lose people. If I change, they might not." Then those weren't your people, honey. They were not your people. They might have been enjoyable to be around. You might have had fun. Heck, you might have even fallen in love. Eventually, though, if they were not meant to be with you for the rest of your life, eventually they will walk away. Either you'll walk away, they'll walk away, or something will wedge you apart. Don't let your fear keep your space cluttered with the people who were never meant to be there in the first place. How many of you hold on to a relationship or friendship just because you've known them for so long? How many of you? How many of you? How many of you have worked a job simply because you've been there 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? And they teach you you have to be at a job at least a few years because that shows, loyalty, that you're dependable. That's some BS line. It doesn't show them that you're dependable. It shows them that you are willing to forego so much, tolerate so much, and you will keep taking it. You see how they can word it in a way that makes it seem as though you need to prove yourself, when in reality, you already have. You already have. It's just they need you to gaslight yourself into believing something so that they can further control you. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with being controlled in that manner? Are you okay with allowing someone else to continue to really exploit these insecurities that you might have? Insecurities that you might not even realize still exist. Like, are you aware that you need that type of approval from someone else? Are you aware that you still buy into certain programs? Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not sitting here telling you that, oh, if you work a job that's not spiritual, if you're not working energy and doing readings, you're not spiritual and you're part of the problem. People who have that logic are the problem. Not part of the problem, they are the problem. I'm saying really begin to assess the root causations. Why do you choose the things you do? Now, we all have to work. We all have to get money in some way because you cannot exist as a human being for free without incurring some kind of cost or debt. So the whole logic of, no, money is the problem, and you're just so worried about money. I used to participate in that. Didn't do me anything. Got me caught up in a parking lot for several months. Did any of those, like, no, you just got to follow your heart and be spiritual? Did any of those people feed me? Feed my kids? Get us what we need? Did any of them? No. No. It was only after people began to feel like being part of Emmy's crew makes you cool. So now we got to support Emmy because we want to be cool too. No. Now, I'm not saying all of them were doing that. A good portion of you guys were there during that time. A good portion of you guys were there during that time. You're genuine. If I had allowed myself to continue to be loyal to this thing that I created based off of my insecurity, I would not have been able to clear my space and see clearly for myself. You guys are amazing. You really meant it when you said you loved me. You really meant it when you said, like, you got me like that. And it's been several years that you've been here. What have you allowed to remain in your life that you can't see who is real and who is just there as long as the given is good? Had I not allowed my life to implode and everything to basically fall apart, had I not taken that risk, that was a massive risk. Let me break it down for you. My business is 100% based in social media. This is a business. Much of spirituality is now a business. Let's be very real, very raw. It is an industry, billions of dollars a year. Industry. Don't listen to none of that, like spiritual people, this and that, and free and no, that's all BS. Okay, that's all BS. This is an industry. My entire business was built on Facebook. I walked away from Facebook. There was no guarantee anyone was going to walk with me. I was in the middle of an entire social war on Facebook. I was the target. I literally was experiencing cyberbullying. What were the chances? Slim to none. It was slim to none. So then why did I move to a completely different platform? No, like transition period, nothing. I was just like, F you, F book. And I stopped posting and I went to YouTube. What did I gain from that? What price did I pay? I gained a new life, a new me, one much more authentic and much more aligned with what and who I am. I'm still a giver, but I'm not an overgiver now. What price did I have to pay for this new life? It came at the cost of my old one. Came at the cost of my old one. It was not a price that was too high to pay. That old life was not aligned with what I actually needed in my life. What do I need in my life? Real people. Real people. Like, how can I say all these things? It's messed up. It's not messed up because I take accountability for what I created. I created a hyper dependency on me. I take accountability for that. The dynamics that I chose to establish on that platform, it was created and sustained by me at my detriment because of my conscious design. How is that me talking shit about people? It's not. It's me telling the truth. If you can look at the things you've done in your life and be just dead ass honest with yourself about the ways in which you have given passive permission, outright permission, you have invited the marauders into your life, these interlopers who have no loyalty to anything or anyone, they exist to simply consume. They're caterpillars, perpetual caterpillars. Caterpillars are not intrinsically evil. They're not. They're caterpillars. They just mosey along and they consume, consume, consume. They're caterpillars. That's all. Caterpillars. That's it. But Emmy, don't caterpillars eventually become butterflies? Not all of them. Not all of them. Some of them don't make it to that point where they can find the courage to enter that chrysalis, completely decompose, become a liquid goo, so they can be rebuilt into what? Something with wings, something that can fly, something that now exists with the freedom to leave the tree and just drink of the sweetness of life. There's poetry to life. You just have to be willing to hear it in the life that you live. It's not always how you are being victimized. In fact, I refuse to identify as a victim of circumstance, a victim of people, a victim of others' intentions. No, no. I am a person making decisions Sometimes my decisions cause my lessons to be learned in a much more viscerally felt, much more painful, struggle filled way. That's okay. At the end of that, I still benefit if I allow myself to. If you take a class, but you never apply the information, did you really benefit from that class? You took a geometry class, right? Do you do geometry? How about trigonometry, algebra, calculus? Do you do those things today? Or maybe now you're just choosing to not do anything? I mean, where are you really? Where are you in your journey? Where are you within yourself? Because what you want wants you. If you want to suffer, you will. I was watching this video. I posted it in the Soul Sanctuary private group on Facebook. If you guys haven't already joined, you absolutely should join there. Everyone's posting some amazing things up in there. Y'all are posting some amazing things up in there. I'm just like, hey, y'all took it up. But I just shared this video. And this man, I've never seen him before. It just randomly started playing on my phone as I was moisturizing my face. So he starts talking about how the body habits have to do with the body kind of, forming a response. Like you do the same thing every day at that specific time. And so the body begins to be almost like more in control than the brain. And you're living on autopilot, basically. It was a very, very fascinating, couple of minutes I was able to watch it. Turns out it's about manifestation and I think like creating wealth or something like that. I didn't get to that part. I was watching the first few minutes. I'm like, I gotta share this. This is ridiculously profound. And it is, because we don't understand that we've programmed ourselves in such a way. I mean, you were being programmed before you even understood you were being programmed. My kids are not on a schedule. Why? They are autonomous. They are autonomous and they are sovereign. Self-regulation is an important thing to learn. So, what am I saying? Well, ever since childhood, haven't you been told when to sleep, when to eat, when to do what task, how to feel, how deeply to feel it, that you need permission to be who you are? You can't dress in a way that's not acceptable to other people. You have to always fit in. And if you don't dress like me, you're going to have to find a group that dresses like you, that talks like you, that thinks like you. We've lived this life where we just continue to allow other people to tell us who we are, how we are, where we are, when we are. How is that free? How is that sovereign? It's not. There's nothing free or sovereign about it. There's literally nothing free or sovereign about living in that way. You have a lot of people who believe they've freed themselves from organized religion and the quote unquote matrix and yada. Okay, your physical form is an embodiment, it's a physicality, a physical component of this matrix. Tell me again how you freed yourself from the matrix. You in rainbow body now? That's how you free yourself from the matrix. Are you talking about financial matrix? Here's one thing that I learned. So long as they can still run your social security number and your driver's license and find records of you, say you're applying for a loan, you're still in the matrix. You're still in the matrix. So why is this important to know? Because your goal is not to remove yourself from the matrix. Someone outside of you told you, hey, you're not cool unless you're saying this stuff and believing this stuff. You're part of the matrix. You're part of the problem. How are you ever going to remove yourself from a matrix? I successfully removed myself from the financial matrix for a few years. They had my driver's license, my social security number. They could not run my credit. Why? They could not find me. Despite the fact that I pay for my health insurance, they were saying I don't exist. I'm a Jane Doe. But here's the thing. I couldn't rent a car. I couldn't get a hotel room. Why? Because I'm not in the matrix. You can't have that if you want to be here. You're not going to have Wi-Fi. You're not going to have any of that. You got a device, you're part of the matrix. So now what we need to understand is all of these things that we're being told, it's all just BS fluffer to distract you. They have us separated with these conversations of, oh, I'm woke, you're a sheeple, and this and that. Hey, I used to partake in that conversation, okay? I used to partake in that before I realized what I was doing. I was propagating division in a different way. I was supporting and participating in elitism, spiritual based, because it's spiritual, it's okay, right? No, it's still a form of separation. It's still a form of separation. If you think you're free now because you're spiritual, tell your spiritual friends you don't meditate. Eat junk food in front of them. Hell, eat meat in front of them. See what happens. Are you really free? You're believing in programs that completely disrespect your personal need, your sovereign right to choose. I was at the cusp of developing organ damage because I refused to stop my diet. What was my diet? Strict veganism. I'm not even talking about vegan snacks, vegan junk food. No, strict veganism. Am I saying veganism is bad or wrong? No, I'm saying I'm not compatible with veganism. I love veganism. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I love the sense of living peacefully. I can still live peacefully as well. I still can. And honor the needs of my body. I still can be peaceful. And people will say, well, oh my gosh, you're not really spiritual. You're not really this, you're not really that. Because why? Because you told me? No, how can you consider yourself peaceful if you're eating other animals? You're eating a living thing. What did you think the plant was? You're cooking them alive. And if you're a raw vegan, which I was for a period, you're eating them alive. But what about fruitarians? You're eating their unborn. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Now, I don't agree with factory farming. That's total effery right there. Absolutely. But are you aware there are certain businesses? I'm not even talking about kosher or, I'm talking about there are businesses that exist. For example, there is this ranch. It's like tons of acres, right? They have no fences. Wild buffalo roam through. Wild buffalo. These are not like herds that are kept in pens and, fed whatever they're fed. No, they're wild buffalo. Certain times of the year, they are allotted X amount to harvest. Yes, to kill. Yes, it's harvest. But here's the thing, they harvest them in accordance with practices of the Plains Indians indigenous to that region. Mhm. If you look at a lot of the spiritual stuff that people are really hyping up right now, they're primarily inspired by the practices of indigenous peoples. A large majority of indigenous peoples ate meat. Are you saying they're evil? But here you are appropriating their sacred ancient ancestral practices? Like you can't do that. You can't do that. If you're going to disregard that portion of their practice, their culture, you can't then appropriate that and oh, but this is spirit. No, 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 no. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Moonrock makes a really good point, respecting the land and the animal. It's about respect and reverence and an understanding of the sacrifice, the gift that's being gifted, the gravity of that gift. See, we're all still just caterpillars, consuming, consuming, consuming. Just because now you're crawling along the tree of quote unquote spirituality, you're not suddenly a butterfly. You're just not. You're still a caterpillar. Does that mean you're less than? No, because the caterpillar is required before you get a butterfly. And really, the butterflies simply exist in order to bring more caterpillars into existence. Your existence is important. It's a part of the circle and cycle of creation. But you can't just keep creating. What we need to be so cognitive of right now is part of that creation is the destruction or deconstruction. That's just the other half. It's the other half. We've gone into this whole like unbalanced thing. Instead of allowing ourselves to gently swing back to center or drift back to center, oh, we pushed that bitch. We went so far the other way. So far the other way. Yeah, so far the other way. Allowing ourselves to participate in conversations like, do you understand you're just being a follower when you keep regurgitating the same thing that other people say? It's still following someone. You're saying the same thing that someone else says because it sounds cool, but you don't really know what it means, but it sounds cool and it makes you feel cool and like more intelligent and more evolved than someone else. So you're going to say it too. Yeah, no. No, that's not how it works. It doesn't suddenly give you additional value just because you can make someone feel less than you. But I'm not tearing them down. But are you intentionally speaking in a way about subject matter they are unfamiliar with in order to elevate yourself? That's the same thing. It's just more intellectual. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. There's a lot of things that I don't talk about in public live streams because why? What's the point of talking about it? To make you feel like you don't know as much as me? Well, I tell you this much. You might not know as much of me about that subject, but I promise you that subject, you probably know way more than me. So what's that mean? You're my equal in every way. Because what I know there that you don't know, you probably know over there that I don't know. And when we come together, we both know. We both are contributing something important. We both now know. We both are being enriched. And when we can begin existing in that way, where we can make it a goal to organically enrich each other, not preach to each other, not tell you that your belief structure is wrong and this and that, but enrich each other in a very organic, respectful, loving, supportive, empowering, mutually beneficial manner. I mean, oh my God, the world changes so beautifully, so dramatically. Do you guys hear that? The planetary shield just pinged. What does that mean? The planetary shield just pinged. Like resonance? Is it like a ding ding ding? Like a moment of realization? I don't know. That was interesting. That was super interesting. So, quick question. For those of you who have spent any amount of time in these live streams with me, either in the recordings or the live streams themselves, whether you've commented or not, because I know quite a few of you don't comment. I won't attack you, don't worry. Don't worry. Make your presence known. It's okay. But there's quite a few of you who, you quietly watch, which that's okay too. Um at what point did you realize after beginning watching me, um at what point did you realize suddenly you were seeing life different, you were interacting with your environment differently, and you'd never even commented, or you've commented very minimally? Just being in an environment that encourages you and invites you and celebrates you being you, how empowering was that? And you guys can try and give me all the credit all you want, but the reality is this: I am not the entire environment. Every single one of you who are in the comment section are part of that environment. Together we create this environment. How many of you feel like when you enter into the live stream, you've come back home, like your childhood home, where you're safe here? You can just be you here. And yeah, I might feel familiar to you, I might feel safe to you, but it's not just that. It's literally everyone who joins, it's all of us together. I tell you right now, I couldn't be this depth of authentic and open and willing to share of myself and vulnerable if the environment you guys co-created with me was not the way it is. I'm saying if we need to give credit, it's going to have to be for all of us. We're all going to have to accept that we all created this together. I might have started it, but it definitely would not have gone anywhere without your active, conscious, willing choice to participate, to reflect. Oh, you guys are beautiful. Mm. I'm trying to make it a point to not cry in live streams, just because like it I don't know how it will translate in podcasts. But the comments that I'm seeing, like, you guys are beautiful. Leanne says, by the second reading I watched, I remember it clearly. Carmen says, about 6 months after I started watching you. Moonrock says, during your lives, I feel I can actually focus to get things done because I feel like I'm safe. Ah. Ah. Karen says, a rare place to be vulnerable. Sochi says, I sure do. I just calm down when I'm in this space. Kavi says, my first day after watching it. All the comments disappeared. Oh no. It's an amazing thing to be in a space like this. A space where I see, I feel, I hear, I read all these parts of me existing as other people. We come from the same consciousness. We come from the same consciousness. Oh, that's so powerful. Leanne says, it's the whole environment. Mm. So that's just so powerful. She says, this group knows my thoughts more than my family in my own home. And that's profound because how many of us know how that feels? How many of us feel that way? Where the very people we live with don't even understand us, nor do they try to, nor do they want to. I mean, I'm very lucky. My husband and my children, like, they totally get me. Sometimes they get me more than I get myself. But until they arrived, until our family became what it is, no matter what environment I was in, just never felt like people even wanted to understand. I always felt like my place was to just be as quiet and as unnoticeable as possible so that people could tolerate me being in the corner against the wall. And it's not for a lack of confidence or lack of sense of worth or lack of sense of self. Like, how aware of yourself do you need to be to feel so painfully separate from an entire race of people? To feel so different than pretty much every single human being you have ever come across up until this point, where you found home again. And now it's a whole bunch of us. And the beautiful thing about a whole bunch of us is we're not like a whole bunch of them. You don't have to be like us to be accepted. You simply need to be looking for a place to feel like home. And we're all like, yes, come on in. Because guess what? Guess what? We're not afraid. We're not afraid of who enters because, on some level, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I really truly feel like on some level, all of us feel and know we're not in this group alone. Like, we got each other. You're going to be disrespectful to me? Is someone else going to check you? Be like, hey, you having a bad day or something? Because, your energy's a bit like, why are you mad at people here? We're not doing anything to you. Where if someone is saying something to someone else, like, I remember very recently, there was a live stream where someone was just being very toxic for so many live streams already. And I was reaching my point where I could no longer tolerate much more. And then they were toxic to someone else. And it wasn't because I have such a long history with that person they were toxic towards. It was because, hey, you know what? Everyone that's here in this chat is part of my soul family. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Like, no, that's not going to be tolerated. And if you can't take accountability for the fact that you're trying to inject consciously or unknowingly toxicity into my home, into my family, you're going to have to excuse yourself. You're going to have to excuse yourself. And that's fine. That's fine. You'll come across plenty of people who will try and say the same type of things that I say, try and create the same type of aesthetics, the same type of this, the same type of that. But do you feel like it's family there? See, there's a difference between feeling the sense of soul family and forming a clique, a group, like a little spiritual gang that gangs up on people who, you in the wrong hood. Like, no, this is a legit spiritual family, soul family, where we really truly do have each other. And if you're someone who has never commented because you don't think like, oh, we're all friends here and you've never commented, and so we're probably not going to be friendly to, no, we're friendly and respectful to pretty much everyone. If you come here with an energy crooked, we probably going to get straightened out, if not by me, by someone else. Why? Because you deserve to live a life where you can feel and know the difference between crooked and straight. Not because you're less than and you have to act like all of us or act like me, but you need to be able to experience the differing polarities so that you can know, what do you want? And you can freely choose. And that's the best part about being loved completely. You are free to choose. Choose what? I don't know. I don't know. You choose what you need to choose. And if what you need to choose is to still not yet comment, not yet make your presence known, that's okay. That's okay. But just know you don't have to stay quiet. For the first time, quite possibly in your entire life, you finally found a place where you can just be you. You don't have to just be quiet and hope nobody notices so that, you're able to remain tolerated for that much longer. We're not here about tolerance. We're here to encourage growth. We're here to feed you the healthy leaves so that you can consume enough and get to a point where you're this bloated caterpillar full of this divine knowledge of self. Right? This is not just about regurgitating esoterica, right? Divine knowledge of self. Gorge yourself on those leaves because the caterpillar has to gorge enough in order to get to that place where they are now ready. They have enough stored energy to begin the process of becoming that butterfly. There's nothing wrong with consumption if that consumption is serving a purpose of growth, transformation, transmutation, metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. Allow yourself to change and grow. Card number 33, Heaven Sent. I tell people sometimes, like I'll either in private sessions or private conversations, sometimes the subject matter turns to this whole concept of, I don't even know how I found you. Let me guess. I just suddenly popped up, huh? Yeah, it was so weird. Like, I don't know what happened. You just suddenly popped up. And then it was like, who's this girl? Why does she feel so familiar? Because you know what happened? You became ready. And when you're ready, actually ready to grow, your soul crosses your path with mine. Why? Well, part of my purpose, part of my function as a soul, as a member of human society. I'm a catalyst accelerant. I spark it, and then I provide the fuel. Why do you think they restrict my reach? Why do you think I'm now spreading my content through podcasts? The seasons have changed. Butterflies are waiting to come into fruition. The time for me to be limited in my reach, limited in who I reach, that's done. The season has changed. The caterpillars are ready. And now, many, many more people need to hear. Many, many more people need to have the opportunity to cross paths with me. It's not about I need more people to book sessions, and no. How many of you have booked sessions with me and that's the only way you grew? Versus how many of you have simply just quietly listened, never commenting, never speaking to me privately, and oh my goodness, the profoundness of what's happened to your perception and how that shift in your perception has completely altered your life, and we've never even had a session. We've never even privately spoken. That's a beautiful thing about living with purpose. You're not driven by profit. You're not driven by greed. You simply live with a purpose and you fulfill it by existing and honoring whatever your soul is encouraging you to do, what direction. Um, okay, this is this is a message for me, right? It says, hold on. Reminder. Hey, you're booked and busy. So here's a reminder to not get stuck hitting the bottom. I'm going to bottom out. At some point, I'll bottom out. Why do I not sound afraid? At the bottom is the perfect place to begin the process of learning how to climb. I'm not afraid of my life. I'm not afraid of the way I learn. I'm not even afraid of the people who are brought into my life to teach me through their adversity. I'm just not afraid. I'm not afraid anymore. I used to be. Not anymore. I read that bottom out. What does that mean? Does that mean what, like my business is going to fail? No. Just means at some point I'm going to use up all this energy that I have right now. And what does that mean? Why am I not afraid of that? Well, because that means the cup's being fully emptied so that it can be fully refilled with new stuff, new energy. I have to allow this energy that I have in me right now to be completely used up because it still is commingled with my former life's toxicity. Programs from childhood, traumas, trauma bonds, all sorts of coping mechanisms, ways in which I self sabotage, ways in which I distort my perception. Yeah, empty that cup. Hell, spill it. I don't care. Rinse it out before you put new stuff in, though. At some point, I'll bottom out, and then I'll be reborn into an even greater version of myself, which has nothing to do with the value that I've given you. My value is not contingent on your lack thereof. My value is based in my willingness and ability to grow and expand my awareness of my own consciousness. All the answers already exist inside me. I will spend this entire life working to develop the maturity to access more of my own knowing. Well, Emmy, but if it's mine, why do I have to work for it? You're not working for it. You're working for the maturity to be able to understand the information you're retrieving from yourself. It's a beautiful thing when you can begin seeing clearly rather than seeing as a victim, rather than seeing as, just a byproduct of your environment and your circumstance. Because you're not. You're consciously or subconsciously creating things. Oh my God. Sochi. I have two friends that only speak Spanish and they watch you and try to understand what you're saying. They say they feel like how they feel when they watch your videos. Oh my gosh. I need to remember. So I was working on learning to speak Spanish. And all I have to say, tell your girlfriends I said, Yo no soy marinero. Yo no soy marinero, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Para bailar la bamba. No, like I can speak Spanish, but when I try to speak Spanish, I freak out. Unless I'm really mad. And then it's like, órale pues. And I am absolutely fluent. But I'm gonna, you know what? That is motivation enough for me to work on my conversational Espanol, and I'm gonna work on that. Oh my gosh, that's so humbling. Lo siento. This español es muy mal. I suck. I suck. I can only speak fluent something if I'm pissed off. I don't want to be mad though. I'm gonna work on it. I'll get a tutor. I'll get a tutor. Okay, card number 17. What is already with you? I'm telling you, the answers are already with you. They're already with you. Did I not just say that? I just told you guys that, right? Card number 35, conscious connections. And this came in reverse. So this is telling me it's maybe time to begin being honest with yourself about how connected or disconnected you are with your environment. If you're disconnected from your environment, you know, it's one of those things where you're going to have to assess how to move forward. It's not necessarily that you need to cut everyone off. You know what I mean? There's no like absolutes. There's no set game plan as to how to handle this part of your life. You have to personally assess, what do you need right now? Who do you need? Who do you need to leave? Who do you need to not hear so much from? And really begin thinking for yourself. There you go, releasing allegiances, letting go of this need to live in a very obligatory manner. A life of obligation is not a life. It's just not. It's not living. If you're living with obligation, um, that's not living. That's just existing. That's just existing. And I'm not talking about, completely disregarding what other people who matter to you, what they need and what they want and their considerations. No, I'm talking about finding a healthy middle ground where it's not all or nothing, where it's not just all you or all them, where it's this thing of, you know, middle, not mediocre. Middle has nothing to do with mediocre, because I can be in my middle space, my center, and still be outlandish AF. Okay? We're not talking about mediocrity. Quite possibly, a large portion of your environment, the people in your life, are coercing you into participating in a life of mediocrity. Honey, there is nothing mediocre about me. I'm going to tell you. There is nothing mediocre about me. Does that statement and that knowing, that declaration of my truth, does that diminish you? No. It's just now I'm fully understanding and now fully celebrating. I'm never going to be mediocre for myself. No, I'm always going to choose to excel. But that is balanced by me being able to show myself compassion and be like, you know what, today I am just going to go ahead and chillax. I'm going to talk to my plants. Oh my God, I got to tell you guys something freaking hilarious. So, my kitchen, it's absolutely filled with all sorts of plants. Like, I'm growing so much in the kitchen, right? Like, I want to say there's maybe 60 to 70 different things going on in the kitchen. Raspberry tree, blueberry tree, bush, they're bushes. Raspberry bush, blueberry bush, blackberry bush, fig tree growing in the kitchen window. I have enough lettuce for salads forever. It's still growing. And like, I was talking to my son and I totally was like, look how fast they're growing. And he told me, listen closely, he plays the Ratatouille song for them. And they seem to like it. He says, the plants love to listen to the Ratatouille song. But he says he needs to be careful and like he mutes the ad that they play before the song because he says that's part of the programming, the narrative, and it's toxic and the plants don't like that. But when they start hearing the Ratatouille song, he says he can feel them like, yes. I was like, oh my God, they do. So I gotta show you guys. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Let me see. I gotta show you. This is just one container of my lettuce. That's just one. They're on the counter. And like I'm starting a whole bunch more. These are all things that are still in their seed form. Like a whole bunch more. All of those bottom ones are also a whole bunch of new things that are growing. And we've also adopted new plant babies. We've rescued them. All my plants are rescues, meaning they're on clearance because they're like half dead and they're going to be thrown away. So I like if I go through the grocery store and I see them, I'm like, "Oh my God, you got to come home with me. You are loved. You matter. We're going to make you blossom." And my husband's always like, "Just leave it there. Nobody wants that." And I'm like, "Shh, they can hear you. Don't say that kind of crap. They need to come home because no one else is going to come home with them. So they're coming home with us." Literally, that's how I buy my plants. And they all thrive. They all thrive. I'm just saying. I'm a proud mama right now. So we need to play more Ratatouille for our plants, okay? Put it on a big speaker and get them healthy. So card number 25, release a dark wound, let love live. What's stopping you right now? What is stopping you right now? Do you know? Because I know. You're still holding on to the way someone disappointed you, someone hurt you, someone walked away from you. They did you a favor. I truly believe that. They did you a favor. Down to the twin. Let's bring it there. Let's totally bring it there. Um yeah, I believe as part of my absolute profound truth, the greatest act of divine sacred love um was when my twin ray decided to be quiet with me. And then I decided to be quiet too. Because then that opened up this entire space of me learning on my own terms at my own time and really just blossoming under the grow lights of my truth. And no, it wasn't this thing of like, oh, we broke up. Like, y'all, I'm married. My husband is not my twin. I'm married, okay? It was this thing of like that silence, and we only interacted via messenger for a couple of weeks. That silence gave me the space to really, really grow and develop my sense of self. It was a very, very difficult period for me, not because of any twin stuff. That period of my life where they were introduced into my existence for even just a few weeks was already a very, very difficult period of my life. Very difficult. And maybe they were only brought around to kind of help catalyze that growth, to serve as the spark, to cause me to become a raging inferno. And people might be like, oh my God, why would you ever want to classify yourself as a raging inferno? Bitch, have you ever been to a bonfire? Who the fuck wants a sparkler when you can have an entire bonfire? I'm just saying, you want to be handheld? You go ahead and be a sparkler. Just know you fizzle out after like a minute or two. Mm-hmm. Bonfires, on the other hand, you ain't stopping that shit. and the best part, everyone who goes to a bonfire is like, hell yeah, it's a bonfire. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, maybe it's the Caliphus in me because I'm from Caliphus. Yeah, no, that was the thing. We would go to the San Francisco Bay. I think it was called Ocean Beach or whatever it was. And we would have bonfires. And that's what we would do as, in our late teens. That's what we would do. And we would hang out and we would have burgers, you know, and we would all just have fun, and that was like the best thing ever. And maybe you don't understand the gravity. If you don't understand the gravity of what I said, maybe you don't understand the gravity of choosing to be a bonfire because you've never been to one. So then how can you decide? Like, how can you make a responsible, well thought out, fully informed decision of choosing to be a sparkler if you don't know what the experience of a bonfire is? See, and that's the thing. That's how we live our lives. We choose who we are without any idea of what the other options of who we can become are. We fail to live our lives fully, completely, wholeheartedly, and then we think, oh, I'm this already. But you're what? You're what? How do you know that that's the end all be all if that's like the first level and you didn't know there's 50 more levels above that? And it's not about pushing yourself to excellence. It's about recognizing you deserve to unfold so you can recognize how excellent you already are at your core. I've been a bonfire my whole life. And it's only after I turned 40 that I took the bonfire out of its carefully constructed packaging. And yeah, what started as a bonfire had burned down to embers. But guess what? When you enter into a dark night of your soul, even the embers grow and glow brightly. They can grow. All you have to do is put more fuel. That's all you have to do. And blow on it. If you put a highly combustible material, hay, dry hay, yeah, you put that on embers and you blow, that fuel will ignite. Here's the thing. Blowing, that's speaking. When you blow, you exhale. You are consciously choosing to exhale. When you exhale with the proper positioning of your tongue, your larynx, your mouth, you are now using that exhale to speak. And when you speak, you can choose to communicate. What am I trying to say? The most powerful thing you can do is speak yourself into being. By speaking to yourself about what you've lived through and what you want to create for your life from this point forward, you have that kind of power over yourself, not other people, but it's still power. You have that type of power. Card number 1, after the storm. You are the storm. Your life's events, they're the storm. It's your life. It's you. You are your own storm. Now, people might not like storms, but here's the thing. Have you noticed that after it rains, it's almost like the world has just been washed? Have you ever seen documentaries talking about how torrential rains are what shaped that landscape? It terraformed that landscape. Are you aware the Sphinx is a lot older than what they say it is? And that there was a lot of water in that region. There was a lot of rain. If water is strong enough in its flow to cut into rock, to form the Grand Canyon, all of these other things they say about water, why can't you allow yourself to just be water? But there's things blocking my way. Yeah, so be like water. Water will always find another way. And if it cannot get out of the container, it will evaporate out of it. Water is beautiful. It's powerful. You can't actually stop water. It will eventually find a way. They can't stop you from being you. If you want it bad enough, eventually you'll find a way. So I guess the problem is not the impossibility of the task at hand. The problem is, why don't you want your peace and your growth bad enough? Is it because at some point in your life, someone convinced you that you don't deserve that type of existence? You don't deserve to be a totality? They lied to you, flat out, plain and simple. They lied to you. Yes, they're responsible for the lie that they told, but no, they're not responsible for you continuing to believe the lie. That's your choice. At some point, you're going to have to choose to believe something else. You can be as negative as you want, but no, that's what you will draw into your life. That's what you will create for yourself. That's what you look for. That's what you'll find. If you want to be positive, positivity has nothing to do with faking that you're fine if you're not. It has nothing to do with never having a strong reaction to someone else's bullshit. I'm a positive person. I'm not toxic positivity. Yep. I'm not going to make excuses for you anymore. You want to come at me disrespectful? If I feel like it's necessary, I'll correct you. Usually, I'll just ignore you and leave you to your tantrum. It's none of my business. It's none of my concern. Not my monkeys, not my circus. So, if life is going to be a circus, you get to choose what kind. There's different kinds. Do you want animals involved? Do you want to make it like an aerial ballet type circus? Like what kind of circus you want? You get to decide. Is it like Cirque du Soleil type circus? Or are you talking like Barnum and Bailey? You know what I mean? You're going to be the ringleader? You're going to be the people who set up the tent? Tear down the tent? Who are you going to be? You get to choose that. You get to choose that. For me, I realize I have other options. My life is not going to be a circus. Hasn't been for a while. You know what my life is? A whole motherfucking wilderness set before me to explore and enjoy. I don't need to control it. I just need to witness it. I need to observe. I need to allow myself to learn from what I observe. And I need to enjoy it. My life is an adventure. I'm not stuck under a tent. I'm not there to be gawked at. No. See, that's the thing. What I had said, it was a loaded statement. It was to see if you believe a circus is the only option. You have so many options. I don't want no fucking circus. Are you kidding me? They pop popcorn there. I love popcorn. I can't have popcorn. Fuck that shit. I don't want a fucking circus. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All the animals look miserable. The seats are shit. I don't want no fucking circus. Are you kidding me? I'm not here to perform. You know, I remember when one of my kids was like a little toddler, because my kids, like, they all developed very advanced, right? And one of my kids, all my aunties, his grandmas, uh, they found out that he could read, and he's like not even 2 years old. And they're like trying to get him to read. You know what this little fool said? I am not an animal. I do not perform. I was like, and my aunt was like, I said, he doesn't perform. I don't. And she just looked at me like, you're going to let him say that? He said it. Now what? I didn't say that to her, but I was like, he doesn't perform. I support it. I co-sign where you need me to sign, baby. I got my gel pen where you need me to sign. He is not an animal. He does not perform. Said like a little badass sovereign. He was listened to. I loved it. And my mom was like, hey, you heard him. He doesn't perform. That's what you get. You keep pestering my grandchild. I was like, that's right. He ain't no fool. He be knowing. You're not going to use him for your entertainment. Oh, but you know, like 30 minutes later, because my aunt, she's a nurse practitioner. And then, you know, she saw his anatomy book. He would bring it around with him. We were learning college anatomy together. And she goes, oh, my patella. And he goes, do you have an injury? Yeah. Yeah. So then she got him to perform. He didn't realize, because it was conversation at that point. You know, xiphi humerales, they were talking about the sternum and all kind of stuff. And she was just so tickled pink. But no, he said he's not an animal. He doesn't perform. He chose that. The second thing, because he was so big into human anatomy and physiology at that point, that was his choice. So it wasn't a performance. It was a mutually beneficial conversation. You guys, you are not that type of animal. You do not need to perform. What you need to do is make a choice of the kind of life you want to live. Forget all the material things. That's not a goal. What kind of person do you want to become? What kind of experiences do you want to have in this life? What kind of feelings and what kind of opportunities will take you to that feeling, that moment where you feel that? Make that your goal. Make your goal to experience things that you actually want to experience. And I swear to you, if it's something you want to experience, you don't have to talk yourself into allowing yourself to be fully present as you experience it. You will have naturally chosen to be. So, you guys, it's time for me to go. As always, our chats are fun. If you could give this video a thumbs up, if you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. If you are subscribed, YT is being a total ball sack, shriveled, and it's unsubscribing people. I'm not the only channel that's having that issue. Let's help YouTube as a ball sack descend from the abdominal cavity so they can be a little more adultish, a little more healthy in their behaviors. So please make sure you're still subscribed. Aside from that, if you are listening to this from a podcast app, please, you can download, you can, I don't know how they do it. I think like you can follow, you can heart, you can rate it, you can subscribe. I'm literally everywhere at this point. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Radio Nation, like all of that, all of that. Look for me, Emmy Evolving, and follow me there. Let's just spread it all out. Spread it all out. Let's make this messy. Let's make it messy. It's arts and crafts time. Allow yourself to really just make a big mess with your magical selves. Make a big mess. All right. I don't know if I'm going to come live later today to do expedites. I'm going to see what my schedule looks like. I might. If you'd like expedites or a personal reading, look for that announcement. Short of that, if you'd like to be part of conversations that are exclusive, where I really dive deep into all sorts of things that I cannot talk about publicly on YouTube because haters, go to the soulsanctuary.love and join my membership. The Emmy Evolving exclusive content goes hand in hand with a Soul Sanctuary podcast exclusive content. You don't need a secondary subscription. Nope. They all go together and you're going to get a whole bunch of content. I'm already changing my schedule around so that I can accommodate this and be able to just halt the live stream in the morning and let y'all know, hey, meet me at the spot. Meet me at the secret spot and we're going to keep going with that convo. For those who are already part of the membership, just so you guys know, once I get all the templates ready and running, your names are going to be flashing across the screen to thank you publicly for your support and your place in my journey. I really, truly appreciate how much support you give. All of you guys, actually. All of you guys. But hey, when you're in that membership, now I got your name. I know what to write. So I got to get going. You guys have an amazing rest of your day from the deepest depths of my heart's oceans. I love y'all. Like a lot. Like a lot, a lot. So have fun today. Make it a good one.